Well, good evening, this is Hound Dog Steve coming to you on the 11th of April. And Brexit. Oh my goodness. Brexit. Wherefore art thou, O deal? And that is the topic for this evening. So welcome back to everybody. It's great to see you all here, and any new visitors, please comment, like and subscribe below, and I hope you enjoy the conversation. Okay, so Theresa May, and I think she actually got down on her knees and started grovelling on the plane on the way over to Brussels as a practice, because that's exactly what she did in front of the EU, was basically grovelled like Oliver Twist, asking for more gruel. And the thin gruel that she was asking for is another extension to October 31st. And if no deal is reached before May, then Britain will be tied up in the European elections for MEPs, and that could actually be a very interesting situation, because people are so angry. People are so angry now and so let down, and so they should be. You should never go into a negotiation with your cap off and on your knees begging for mercy. This is just absolutely, it's on page 1 of every negotiation book. I just can't believe that this is what has happened. And I honestly can't believe either, because every time I think of politicians these days, I seem to have this image pop up in my mind. Because that's exactly what they're behaving like. 3 years to negotiate a simple deal. And this is what the ballot said. Okay? It didn't say anything about a deal. It just said, do you want to leave the EU? And the answer was yes. And so it was supposed to happen on March 29th, and it hasn't. It was supposed to happen on April the 12th, and it hasn't. And now we're moving on to October 31st, and the way these clowns, yep, those clowns are arguing and fooling around, no decision is going to be made by then either. Anyway, let's pop over to these 2 articles, and we'll come back and do a quick wrap-up. Globe and Mail. Britain's PM Theresa May defends Brexit delay. Critics ask her to resign. British Prime Minister Theresa May defended her decision to delay Brexit and seek a compromise exit plan with the opposition Labour Party, as one angry lawmaker from her own party stood up in Parliament on Thursday and asked her to resign. The European Union has agreed to delay Brexit by up to 6 months to October 31st, while May seeks an agreement with Labour that she hopes will help her get her 3 times rejected exit deal approved by Parliament. This is not the normal way of British politics. Reaching an agreement will not be easy, because to be successful, it will require both sides to make compromises, May told Parliament. May agreed to the delay in the early hours of the morning at an EU summit in Brussels, ending the risk that Britain would leave the bloc without a deal on Friday, but providing little new information on how she will resolve the country's biggest political crisis in more than 70 years. And here we go. Sterling traders were left scratching their heads about whether the British currency should rise or fall. But a statement on the decision to delay Brexit's EU exit for a second time brought angry reaction from hardliners who want to leave the EU as soon as possible. Arch Eurosceptic Bill Cash described it as abject surrender. Does she also accept that the withdrawal agreement undermines our democracy and constitutional basis of Northern Ireland, our right to govern ourselves, control over our laws, and undermines our national interest? Will she resign, he said. May retorted, I think you know the answer to that. The Guardian. EU leaders agree to delay Brexit until 31st of October. EU leaders agree to offer the UK an extension on Article 50 until 31st of October, which Theresa May has accepted. Donald Tusk, the President of the European Council, said that until that deadline, what happens will be in the hands of the UK. It can ratify the withdrawal agreement and leave. It can change strategy, or it can decide to revoke Article 50 and cancel Brexit. He says the UK will remain a friend of the EU and ended his press conference with an address to our British friends. Please do not waste this time. There will be a review of the situation on June 30th, but Tusk said the point of review was to inform EU leaders what was happening and not a cliff edge. In a press conference after the agreement was reached, May said the choices we now face are stark and the timetable is clear. She acknowledged the huge frustration that UK had not yet left the EU. And May, of course, repeatedly ducked questions about her future as Prime Minister, after having previously said she would not accept an extension beyond June 30th. She simply insisted that the UK can still leave on May 22nd and not hold those European parliamentary elections if Parliament passes the withdrawal deal. Oh my God, yes, got to put that little threat in there, don't we? The Prime Minister will now head back to London to give a statement in the House of Commons in the early afternoon on Thursday. Now that the threat of a no-deal exit has gone, Parliament has scrapped plans to force Parliament to sit on Friday and next week. So I think the thing that really gets me about all of this is the millions and millions and millions of dollars that have been wasted, taxpayer dollars that have been wasted when you have a healthcare situation in crisis. Britain's system is bulging at the seams. You have an education system that is in crisis, and yet you will waste all this money for 3 years negotiation, all for naught? Are you kidding me? No wonder people think of you as, yep, I love that little clown, because that's who you represent to just about every member of the public right now. Because this isn't just going on in England and Europe, this is going on all over the world. And it has to change. This system of government that we have, we're seeing now in spades the flaws in the system. It may have worked at one time, it may have got us to where we are right now, but the world has changed and the system is now a drag on the decision-making process. I mean, I understand there's got to be discussion. You know, you can't just make decisions off the top of your hat and on the fly and that kind of thing. However, 3 years to negotiate a simple separation deal. I mean, really, what does that deal got to say? We'll keep the things that work and we'll get rid of the things that don't work. Who knows what it's going to look like? You leave it open that every country in Europe has the ability to negotiate separate deals with England. There you go. You're on the road, buddy. That shouldn't take too long at all. I mean, they certainly have been together long enough to realise the things that work, and things that work well, and the things they want to keep. And the big issues, basically in England, you know, why Brexit was voted for, that the public and the publicly elected politicians get to make the decisions and maintain sovereignty over their territory, i.e. fishing grounds, and act in the best interest of the country. And this clearly has not been happening. Like I say, you know, this deal, the whole thought of having a deal kind of came out of nowhere. That was not on the ballot. That was not on the ballot. And Britain could easily have just walked away and let them figure it all out. Trust me, the people who want to make a deal will find a way to make a deal. They'll get on the phone and they will figure out some kind of arrangement. All you have to do is allow them to do that. And there was a little piece I posted, or maybe a couple of 3 months ago, and it was a chap from the House of Lords who sits on 7 boards of directors for medium and large-sized corporations, and he affirmed, in or out, it's the indecision that is creating the problems. And Theresa May has probably done more to damage the economy by leaving this whole situation in a state of limbo and not having a decision, by not being a strong leader. Theresa May should have led this, and of course she's a Remainer. How could she possibly negotiate an exit when your whole worldview is around remaining in a European Union? It's impossible. Anyway, I think these people are jerking us all around. I think they need to wake up, smell the coffee, Get with the program, get on top of this, and just leave. It will work itself out. Trust me, these things will work themselves out. Just as China found its way to trade and trading partners around the world, they individually negotiated. I don't see them part of a trading deal or pact or union, and they're doing pretty well for themselves. Leave trade alone. Allow businesses to trade via whatever mechanisms they have at their fingertips, and allow it to take place. The only regulation that should be occurring around this kind of trade is creating a level playing field and then stepping back and allowing that to happen. Other than that, I mean, things don't really change. We still have these behemoth corporations, these massive oil companies that are polluting all over the world, and we couldn't stop them then, and we probably won't be able to stop them now. And that's really not part of the deal that's to do with Brexit. Anyway, I believe that Britain should just leave. I hope that they darn well make up their mind quickly so that business can get on with what it needs to do to keep Britain on top of the world stage. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this information, and if you did, please comment, like and subscribe below. And in the meantime, this is Hound Dog Steve signing off, and we will talk to you very, very shortly. You take care now. See ya. Bye.